Oh, Rashmi, you're muted.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's funny because
Happens at least once.
for so many years, but I always forget sometimes.
Of course. Go
Uh,
ahead.
are you able to see my screen? Because it's showing me like a black screen. Okay, cool. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. I was on my period one day and felt frustrated as I threw yet another pad into the garbage. Why was I having to pick between my well-being and the well-being of the planet? When I looked into it, these products that we're merely using for 4 to 8 hours sit in the landfills for over 500 years, and there's over 20 billion of these menstrual products and their single-use packaging that end up in the landfill every single year just in North America. And on top of that, you've probably heard about the recent study that came out from UC Berkeley about how a lot of these menstrual products contain lead and arsenic, in addition to the research that's been around for years about the PFAS and dioxins about these menstrual products. This is a problem that 50% of the world's population faces. So that's why we decided that it was time for a revolution. Aruna is revolutionizing the way we manage our menstrual health with compostable, toxin-free, and inclusive menstrual products that are made out of our proprietary technology and local plant byproducts. So why local plant byproducts, you might be wondering? Well, right now there's a massive opportunity where farmers and food manufacturers are having to discard of their byproducts either into the landfill or burning it, and they have to spend a lot of resources and time doing this. And so what we've done is we've provided them an alternative way of disposing of this, and we take their residuals and put it through our proprietary process to extract these clean and safe fibers from them and turn them into our menstrual products. What's really unique about our proprietary technology is that we are able to use virtually any type of feedstock. So think of corn, soy, canola, hemp, all the way to orange peels from juicing companies. And so we're able to take all of this and turn it into these clean and safe fibers that can be used for our products. And these fibers, in addition to a lot of R&D that we've done to turn them into these menstrual products, allow us to break these products down in just 30 days. So compost them in just 30 days. Whereas our competitors who are largely greenwashed are either claiming to be biodegradable or compostable. And so with biodegradable, as you probably are aware, it just essentially means that it can be broken down by a microorganism without the guarantee of an environmentally friendly output. So what this means is that while it can be broken down by a microorganism, it can either take decades to break down or it can break down into microplastics. Whereas with our compostable competitors, while they are compostable, they're only compostable in very, very specific conditions that don't exist on the market today. What we've done is we've gone and worked directly with the composting stakeholders. So think GFL, so the bright green trucks that you see everywhere, or Toronto Waste, and several of these organizations to make sure that our products are truly compostable and compostable both at home and in the green bins. Whenever we talk about Aruna pads and our fibers, we often get told, hey, have you thought about diapers? And so we've realized that these fibers can actually be used in a variety of different products, not just menstrual pads. And so while we're starting with menstrual pads, we're going to do the full line of menstrual products, so tampons, panty liners, and then we have the ability to expand into diapers and the incontinence market, as well as maternity and medical PPE and several other markets too. We've actually had L'Oreal reach out to use our fibers for their makeup pads. And so we've realized that at the end of the day, our core asset is our fibers. And to no one's surprise, this is a massive market, a $211 billion global market for the global disposable hygiene product market. And if we're just looking at the menstrual product market, that's the global market of $63.2 billion. And to tap into this, we're starting with menstrual pads specifically because right now it's a policy-driven market, meaning that there's a lot of federal mandates coming into play, not just in Canada, but all around the world, that is requiring menstrual products to be provided by employers to their employees. We had actually originally planned to start off in the D2C market, selling directly in retail stores or through e-commerce. But when these mandates came about, people actually started reaching out to us to see if we would be able to provide our pads to their companies. And we realized that this was a very unique opportunity for us. And so we decided to implement a menstrual pad subscription for businesses. So we're starting as a B2B company. And what this is going to allow us to do is not only provide sustainable pads to companies that have sustainability policies, helping them meet their mandate, but for us, it's going to allow us to generate ongoing revenue much faster, as well as bring product and brand awareness to the D2C market for when we do launch into that larger D2C market. With our products, we've ensured that we will be able to dominate the market by making sure that our products are both highly functional as well as sustainable. Right now, the trend that we're seeing on the market is that as sustainability increases, the functionality decreases, and people are losing trust in sustainable products. And so we've put in a lot of time into the fiber science and the engineering to make sure that our products are functional at the same level, if not more so in some cases, to the always plastic products, while maintaining the sustainability with the compostability and how we're manufacturing it, all the way to how it's being able to be disposed of. In addition to that, we are looking at the pricing as well. And so when we did our pricing evaluation, we had sort of put our products out at different prices and seeing which one people are more interested in looking at. And one thing that we found was that when we priced ourselves lower and closer to the always products, especially as an early stage company that's new to the market, people didn't trust that these are going to be good quality products. They thought that it's going to be cheaper quality products. And so as we started increasing the price, we found that at around $1 per pad is where people find that the value meets the pricing expectation. And so right now we're priced at $1 per pad. And so in terms of our unit economics for our very first production, which was a very small 20,000 pads, it cost about $1.80 per pad to make. But our current production run, which is 1 million pads, is about 35 cents per pad landed cost. And so this is going to allow us to start off with a margin that's going to help us keep growing. And then as we start scaling, that cost is going to come down, and at around 100 million pads will be at cost parity in terms of manufacturing with always. So in terms of our IP strategy and future R&D, we currently have a IP portfolio that includes our fiber extraction process, our menstrual pad construction, our biofilm, which is essentially our leak-proof compostable layer. And then in addition to that, we're continuing innovation with biochar for hygiene products, and we've also trademarked Aruna in several different countries. In terms of our strategy, we have filed all of these as either provisionals or PCT, and with this current raise, we'll be converting most of them into full applications too. And this protection is going to be in North America, Europe, China, India, and Japan, intentionally because this is where a majority of the menstrual products are manufactured. In addition to that, we're keen to leverage this IP for growth through partnerships. And so we've had a lot of organizations, smaller organizations that are, smaller menstrual product brands rather, that are interested in white labeling our products. So they've reached out to us to express interest in white labeling our pads. We've also had some interest in co-branding. So we're thinking about things like powered by Aruna fibers. So and then in addition to that, licensing the technology, and of course in the future, expanding the product as well. In terms of the regulations around menstrual pads, in Canada, they're not actually regulated as a medical device. And in several other countries, they're not regulated as a medical device. But in the US, they are regulated as a medical device, but just as a class 1 medical device that doesn't really need a significant approval process and mostly just requires you to self-register and make sure that you've got your QMS system set up, which we do. And so the regulatory barriers for this are much lower, and the cost and time to entry to market is supported by this. But of course, we've made sure to complete the testing for this, and which includes dermatological testing and working with gynecologists as well. In terms of our revenue, we're going to be starting in the B2B market, as mentioned. And so as we do this, we're also going to be increasing our capacity. And we just started selling this past month. And so in the past month, we've generated about $30,000 in revenue and are projecting a total of $150,000 for this year. And the purchase orders that we've received are from the government of Nova Scotia, various manufacturers that are also providing the menstrual products in their bathrooms to their employees, as well as several law firms as well. We also have a wait list of over 500 people for the D2C launch, and are also going to be on Dragon's Den in about a month. And so this is going to hopefully help us bring more awareness about our product. And then as we start growing in the next 2 years, we're going to be using this Dragon's Den to kind of do a soft launch into the D2C market and start exploring e-commerce and retail as well. Looking at several other organizations that have been successful in this, we're keen to try and be in retail doors and start growing that next year and expanding the product line in 2026. One question that we sometimes get asked that I think is really important is why aren't big organizations such as Johnson and Johnson or Procter and Gamble not doing this? Why are we doing this, and why are we going to be more successful at this? And so I think this is really important to address because one thing that we've realized is that we've seen a trend of these other types of menstrual product companies come about and they get purchased by these larger organizations. So they get acquired by them. And the one thing that we've realized is that these larger organizations, they tend to have more limitations in terms of customer trust about them greenwashing the products. But in addition to that, they're slower. They have a lot more policies within the company that make the R&D and innovation a bit slower to get to market. And so what they tend to do is they wait for companies such as the Honey Pot, Royale, and Aruna to grow and build up the customer basis, and then they go in and merge and acquire the company. We know that this is a massive challenge that we've taken on, but with my background in biomedical engineering, having brought several medical devices to the market that are used in over 10 million surgeries annually, and my co-founder, who's a registered nurse and has done a lot of work in health policy, and also the fact that we're both menstruators, so we understand this market deeply. In addition to our brilliant team, which consists of environmental engineers, mechanical engineers, chemical, biomedical engineers, in addition to marketing, which we're growing right now. And finally, we wouldn't have been able to come this far without our phenomenal advisors who have a cumulative of over 100 years of experience in this industry, and our retired directors from Procter and Gamble, Johnson and Johnson, so have been critical to get us to where we are within the past 2 years. In addition to the support of accelerators across North America, government organizations, as well as waste management companies. So today we're raising $2 million to bring Aruna pads to the market. And with this $2 million, we're going to be using it to bring on the key hires to the company, scale up our marketing so that we can continue to grow our launch, as well as build up our pilot facility, which is going to help scale our capacity as well. Thank you for your time. We hope you join our revolution.
Great job.
Cool. Yeah. I saw you before. I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the unit economics slide that you added.
Thank you, thank you. That was for
I
feedback.
I was like, oh yes, I love it. I love it. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. So kudos on that.
Thank you.
Did you are you really doing Dragons Den, or did you say use that as a like a?
Oh no. Actually, we
You're
are.
gonna
We
do
are.
Dragons Den.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
You are.
we
Okay.
taped
Cool.
earlier this year, and it's going to be airing. We're going to get a 3 weeks notice. We haven't gotten it yet, so we're anticipating kind of at the end of November.
Oh, you taped already?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay, cool. Yeah, like for me, okay, let me give some quick feedback or suggestions on slides at this point. This is a style matter, so take it, and you don't, it's up to you. Or
No.
maybe you'll end up with different versions of the deck and you can have these different versions. So one thing was like, I wonder if it'd be more powerful if you instead, because you have 3 slides for team now, the founders, team, and advisors. I wonder if it'd be more powerful if you put that all on one slide.
I was thinking about
I just wonder because I'm looking at it and every time I'm having, oh man, like do they have the right technical background? Oh, the team is very technical. Then I'm like, man, they don't have a single CPG marketing or distribution person on the team. Oh, those are your advisors. But like instead of putting me through that roller coaster, maybe just hit me in the face with it.
Yeah.
but that's a style thing, right? Maybe that thing, that roller coaster is better, and maybe you deliver it better. So that's it's a style thing. I want
Okay.
to say your intro is great. Like,
Thank
I
you.
think the way you open.
I,
If you had to cut some slides and shorten
Mhm.
this thing,
Mhm.
maybe the team slide into one could be one suggestion. The other one was like the regulatory slide. I don't know how useful it is. I'm like 50-50 on it.
Mhm.
It's really cool to hear that, okay, the regulatory side's not a problem.
Mhm. But I could
But
probably
then
like,
it's just like everything else on it is like more powerful. So I'm like, I guess leave it in there if you're not crunched for time, but it breaks the flow a little bit and like
yeah,
takes a little bit of the air and energy out of the flow when you're on such a good run.
yeah.
So I almost feel like I wonder if that's a good appendix slide when someone asks about regulatory and it's such an easy dunk. Like, hey, yeah, in Canada it doesn't matter. In the US it's super easy. Okay, next question. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
if I had to cut one slide, if I had to cut a slide, I would start there.
Okay, okay.
Um, so like the more strategic, yeah. So the more strategic thing is like, I still don't have a good sense. You talked about it towards the end. Like, what are the big, companies doing about this? Like
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
big
I
CPG,
just added
Johnson
that
and Johnson.
sentence. I
Like
don't think
yeah, you talked about it. But I'm still like, there's two imagery earlier from the deck that I'm like, oh, is that what they're like? Because you have one slide, remember, you're like 30 days, the size of what's left, the
yeah.
degradation. You
Mhm.
compare yours, you're on the very left where it's very little left, and then you have something in the middle, and you have like the worst one on the right. Like,
Mhm.
and then you also have the unit economics slide. That's a good comparison. Like, so now I'm trying to like, oh, are the big companies doing one of those? That's
Mhm.
just not as good. So are they gonna look at you as, you know, oh, like ours degrades, you know, like at this pace,
Mhm.
but if I go acquire Aruna, it's gonna be much better pace. Is that the thing, or are they not doing biodegradable pads at all, guys?
Yeah, so most of them haven't gotten in yet, and the ones that have acquired some of these other companies that are doing the biodegradable. So
That was the worst one, right? In your
yeah.
comparison of three.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So I wonder, okay, to me, that's a critical piece of information that, hey, the big companies are doing something, but they're doing the worst one,
Yeah.
right? And look how much better we are, right? So that's
Um,
what I kind of tweezed out. Yes, I wonder if there's a way to, in those three slides somehow, to convey that, look, the big boys are doing something, and it's
yeah,
through acquisition, and their product sucks. Like,
right.
that's kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know.
That
That's
makes
like, yeah.
sense. Yeah, no. I think you're right. I do need to, because I added that slide in with like the pitch books like references to talk about, hey, there's a market, people are getting acquired. This is a strategy that these big companies are taking. But
No,
I
it's
think
good. That's good. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I can definitely talk about it a bit better and maybe pull in some of
Maybe
that.
it's earlier in the slide when you're doing all the comparison. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's that
Yeah.
3-1 slide with the three images, or maybe
Yeah.
it's in the unit economics where you're, because I can't tell. I know Always is a big company one. That's like the disposable, really bad
Oh,
one.
so the
But the
connection,
other
yeah.
four brands you have on the slide, are any of those owned by big CPG? I don't know. Maybe they are.
There some of them have been acquired by them. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's what you
Okay.
say, like ACQ by Johnson and Johnson
Okay.
in parentheses or something. Something. Yeah, I don't know. There's this piece of information I just pulled out of you. It
Yeah.
would be good if you conveyed that somewhere, that the big companies are doing something. It's through acquisition, and it's the crappiest product you could get. You know what I mean? Really, just crap on it.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
appreciate the
sorry.
feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. Like I love it. It's come along. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's great. Yeah, yeah.
A
I
few
think
more
it's gonna be a good
relatively less than
episode.
we thought, I think.
It's gonna be a good episode. I can't wait. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
I'm
Will
wearing a
will
red power
will you
suit
guys let
today.
us know? Will Shibu let us know when these guys are going on? Because I don't
Yeah,
normally
definitely.
watch the show,
Maybe
but
maybe we can do a watch party with
oh yeah, it'd be
Definitely.
great. Yeah, we should definitely do a Shibu watch party. Okay, sorry, Melanie. I'm just like sucking up all the air. Sorry. Yeah, that's it.
No, no, that was great. And we will definitely keep the community posted in our news so you'll get an update when it's airing for sure. I will work to organize a watch party. That's one of my favorite things. So
Thank you.
doing the Dragon's Den episodes, we've done a few of those here in the ecosystem, so we can do that too. And I think the biggest takeaway is just crap on the big guys. I think that's what you said, quote
Yeah.
unquote, right? So there you go.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah,
for-
because you're a disruptor, right? So you want that to come really literally clearly. That it's not
Love it.
really quite getting right now, like that the big companies are not quite doing it.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank
Love
you.
it. Okay, go ahead, Melanie.
Hey, yeah, I haven't seen your presentation before, but I can definitely tell you've done it a number of times because information is very clear. You have all the headings, you know, to answer all the questions that I would have had. First bunch of slides, I liked when you mentioned you were, you know, you've kind of realized that you're a fiber company, not necessarily like a menstrual pad company.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, maybe not so much for this pitch that you're going to be doing in a couple of weeks, but looking ahead at your company, like if you're truly a fiber company, then how much money are you spending on, okay, we're making these amazing fibers that are going to go in everything versus, you know, marketing and selling menstrual pads in all the different channels you can sell in. And I especially my ears and my eyes, you know, kind of opened wide when you started talking about healthcare products, because that is just something that drives all of us doctors nuts, is like the sheer amount of waste that we produce in the hospitals just breaks our heart every day. So if I knew that, you know, the gowns that we wear and the blue pads and the drapes and all of that could be composted and recycled really easily, like that would be amazing. And it would speak to kind of sustainability goals in the hospital and all the ISO things that we have to do.
Thank you for saying that. Can I quote you on that, Melanie?
Sure. Sure. And I know definitely, like, you know, we've got like Facebook message groups with, you know, I'm in the groups with other doctors across Canada, and some of them are like really passionate about medical waste. Like,
Wow. Wait, can I connect with you outside of this?
yeah, yeah. You know, I'd have to search through the feed to find out the people talking about it, but it is definitely an issue that people are thinking about. But like everything else with healthcare, like there's no bandwidth to actually address it, right? So we just keep throwing out.
We'll help.
Yeah, COVID was the worst. If we're talking about ways, if you're interested in cutting down a little bit, like on your slide 6, the compostable slide, you spent a long time talking about composting. But the picture, like, kind of said 1,000 words, right? Like the picture of your pad and just how it goes down to nothing compared with the other ones kind of gave me all the information I needed to know. And then the only other thing that was interesting was something you said where you've actually like spoken with industrial composters and they would actually be able to compost your product like that. That is quite interesting. And it's just nice to know you've done that homework so that you're not selling something that no one can actually compost. The business subscription thing was interesting. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like that was good information to have. Your pricing, when you started, you went through your pricing experiment, and I'm just curious, was that something you did when you were with CDL?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when I did my MBA, I did the CDL program. Like I was in the course, and that is exactly, we had a whole lecture talking about that. So as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, you know, like that's the CDL pricing experiment. So it's really interesting that you did that, and the information you got from it, that $1 is actually like where we should price. Again, just shows that you've done a lot of the work. So kind of makes me trust this more as like a potential investor. I like that you mentioned IP strategy. The slide on regulatory, yeah, I don't know if it needs to be there, but it would be like IP and regulatory go very much together in my head. So you could say a word about regulatory when you're on your IP slide. You know, this is our IP, and you could even have something written somewhere there based like regulatory with a big like, no, we don't have to do it. Which
I like that. Yeah.
Which is kind of like or that like it's not regulated in Canada. Minor regulation FDA, because as an investor it removes a hurdle, right? Like with all of the health products, like we know how long regulatory takes. So the fact that you don't have to do it is a significant advantage that might, just mention it, but you don't have to have a
Yeah,
whole
I don't need a whole slide for it. That's a good point.
on there.
Mhm.
Dragon's Den made me a little bit worried as a potential investor, because I'm like, how much of her company did she give away? Like,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
so I don't know. I guess we'll find out after
Yeah.
the
So yeah, I guess maybe I should have mentioned that we went into Dragon's Den with the mindset that it was more of a marketing opportunity
Okay.
rather than an
like a
investment
commercial, like a
Yeah. We spoke with a lot of the companies that had gotten like commitments during the show, but like 90% of those commitments don't go through. We've
yeah. I
realized.
think they often fall
That's
apart.
what I've heard too, is
Yeah.
that, even when they shake hands on stage, it doesn't
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah,
Because they're
it
usually
falls
really
apart with due
crappy
diligence
deals. Yeah.
and-
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we went in with the mindset that it was a marketing opportunity, but yeah, you're right. That could have been definitely, maybe I should address that when I do mention it. Is I don't know.
Maybe just because we want to know that you didn't, because sometimes the deals are ridiculous, right? It's like, give me 60% of your company, they say. So we're kind of worried, oh crap, how much did she give away?
Oh my gosh. Wait, I have a funny story to tell you. So when they do the deal, they don't give you a calculator, and there's like so much lights and like so much pressure on you, and they send you into this little room with a camera right in front of you, and there's this like part where I'm like, wait, I need to do the math here, but the camera's like right here, and I couldn't think, and I was like, oh my gosh, like people are gonna like, I'm an engineer, but I can't do simple percentage math right now.
Yeah. It's like my worst nightmare of like trying to buy a car, and they like tell you what price they want you to pay, and you're like, I need my spreadsheet so I can calculate out how much I'm actually paying for this thing.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that came in my head with Dragon's Den. And I think you had that slide with the different companies and comparisons, and then the word mergers were on there and acquisitions and all of these different things. And it's just like, is your plan to be acquired, right? Like, is that like ultimately your business plan is you want to make this great product and you want someone else to buy it?
Yeah.
And so maybe just like, if that's the goal and you're going to optimize that, might be worth saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Raif thinks about that, but
Look, I think I think in most cases in software world, we don't want founders to say that.
Okay.
Right. Especially it's such a Canadian story of like, oh, we don't scale companies, we sell for cheap to Americans. Like that's however, you're building a CPG company. What are you gonna do? Build the distribution globally that Johnson and Johnson and Pepsi or whatever? Like, it ain't happening. So so I think in your world there is no alternative. Like you know what I mean? Like so that's why I thought the same, Melanie, but that's why I didn't raise it before, because I'm like, well, she's just in a different industry. There's no other path. What is she gonna build, like distribution globally and go public? I don't think so. Right? Like, but I don't know. Like it could be good to I'm sure through the network you met people who've scaled these types of things a bit more, maybe like the Nixware people or whatever. Like they may have perspectives that's more useful than mine. So I'm a software person, so physical things scare me.
Yeah. But it's interesting you mentioned Nix, right? I have two teenage daughters, and I have probably spent many hundreds of dollars on those underwear, like in the past 5 or 6 years since my daughters became teenagers. And but that's not mentioned anywhere on your slides as kind of your competition, right? And so I think it is something important to mention, because there is that whole category out there of these just washable underwear, where in theory we're not throwing anything in the garbage until the underwear reach the end of their life. And then I don't know about the safety or the I didn't actually look into that before I bought them. Like, is material itself safe for their bodies? I hope so. But just that is a competitor that I think might be worth mentioning.
Yeah, we do have it on the slide with the thing, but I don't really mention it. So maybe I should just quickly like mention all the different products before just kind of talking about why ours is better.
Yeah, maybe. And then just like the last thing again is like this idea that like their core asset and the core product is those fibers, right? So do you want to dominate like a consumer product category, or do you want to be like the world leader in making these fibers and kind
Yeah.
of putting it into technology,
That's a good point.
and kind of being like the trusted supplier, you know, kind of that innovation center for like, we make the best things out of fibers in the world, and then, you know, all of these companies buy them off of us because we're amazing, right? It's kind of like the example of like, if I think like way back, like, you know, are you like Dolby, you know, making like the Dolby digital stuff? Because they're not making stereos, but everybody goes to them for the sound.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Or I think one of the examples I use right now is like, are you like NVIDIA, right? Are you designing the chips, or are you building the chips? Are you like Foxconn, where you're going to build and distribute and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Actually, I'm just going to show you a slide because I do have a slide about that, but I'm building this out a little bit more. But basically, I talk about this exact same thing where
Okay. Yeah.
going into like Intel Inside or Gore-Tex,
Yeah.
you know, that like it's going to be, you know, a really like sustainable product that's good for you, that's clean, and then it's not going to harm the planet. And so I kind of see Aruna turning into something like that too. But yeah, I didn't mention it in the slide because I don't know how to put it into the flow yet. Yeah, but definitely something we're interested in.
Okay. Yeah. And where does the name Aruna come from?
It comes from my culture actually. So Aruna is the charioteer of the sun, and it also means like the rising sun. And so to me, what Aruna essentially means is that you've kind of got this meaning of shining the light onto like dark problems. So the stigma around menstrual health. So Aruna was around menstrual health. It started around menstrual health, and so yeah, you've got the meaning of the sun, but also we realized in another culture it means moon love, and you know how like the menstrual cycle is on the lunar cycle, and then also you know the cycle of the sun, the cycle of the moon, and menstrual health being a natural cycle too. So yeah, it's got quite a few meanings. And if you look at
that's lovely, actually. That's a nice story for the name. So
thank you. And actually it's in our logo too, so you can kind of see the little moons here.
Yeah.
And then the little sun in here, and then the A for Aruna. And then if you look at it from afar, like abstract, it kind of looks like a abstract like vagina too. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Beautiful. Well, what a lovely note to conclude on, because we only have one more minute before I head into the next pitch practice. But this was fabulous. I took notes. Rashmi, one of the things I did want to take away from that feedback is your pitch is a little long. So we're at almost 13 minutes. So we've just got to narrow that down to 12. So your feedback, Raif and Melanie, in addition to all the great things you said, one thing that stood out to me was the ability to eliminate a couple of slides or reduce a couple of slides to a single slide. So wonderful feedback right ahead of pitch day, which is on the 28th, which is very exciting, and amazing to see the evolution of your deck, Rashmi. It looks so good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks so
Yeah, it
good.
looks great, Rashmi. Great job.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so excited for you. Yeah,
Wonderful.
really
Thank
cool.
Appreciate all of this
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, thank
so
you all very much.
I live with 3 women, so I gotta get the word out. Yeah.
You go buy that stuff all the time too.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Found some customers here.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, from
100%.
14 to 50. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Thank you so
all
Wonderful.
ages. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks. Bye.
much.
Have a great day.